Hello from Rhiannon and me. Welcome to the programme.
First tonight, the couple from Suffolk in a desperate battle to stop their unborn grandchild being taken into care.
Dale and Lorraine Coote's daughter Megan from Kesgrave near Ipswich has learning difficulties and her baby's due in just 2 weeks.
But following an assessment by social services, the family have now been told that the child could be taken away. Victoria Webb has the story.
As she plays with her young niece Ava, 21-year-old Megan Coote is both looking forward to and dreading the arrival of her own daughter. She's due in 2 weeks, but social services say they will apply to take the baby away from her.
Distraught, upset, depressed. All new mums struggle with a babe. All new mums do.
Megan has learning difficulties. The father of the child is no longer on the scene, and her family says they've been told by social services that her unborn child is likely to be taken into care. But Megan's parents, Dale and Lorraine, want to keep the baby in the family and say they'll offer Megan support, and she can even live at home with them if she needs to.
We have a 4-bedroom accommodation, so we can accommodate Megan and the baby, no problem. Also, we've offered that my wife moves in with Megan in her flat. She's got a 2-bedroom flat for a period of time to see whether Megan can cope. You know, all we're asking as a family is somebody please give Megan a chance in life.
They've actually said they feel that she's going to harm her child, and I know she hasn't got a hurtful bone in her body.
Although unable to comment on individual cases, the Director of Children and Young People Services in Suffolk has told us that extensive assessments are always carried out to determine whether a child can be cared for by the natural parents or within the extended family. In a statement, he said, in the vast majority of cases, children remain with their families. But where this is not possible, an application must be made to the court together with all relevant information. It is then for the court to decide what is in the child's best interest. It's the second time in recent months that a child protection case in Suffolk has hit the headlines. In December, ITV News reported on a couple who were planning to leave the county for Spain to stop their unborn child being taken away after their first child was put into foster care. 8 months through the pregnancy, the couple are still in Spain and the case remains unresolved. Dale and Lorraine say they'll continue to fight the decision and are seeking legal advice about becoming the child's guardians.
They can apply to the court for various orders, one of which is that they have a residence order, so the child lives with them. They could also apply to be what's called a special guardian of the child, and that gives certain additional rights over simply a residence order. And the court will consider the welfare of the child in placement and whether that would meet the child's needs.
With 2 weeks until her due date, at this stage Megan's very unsure of what the future will bring for her and her baby. Victoria Webb, Anglia News, Kesgrave.
And of course we will keep you up to date with any developments on that story.
We will indeed. Right, next, they've claimed more British lives in Afghanistan than any other weapon. The Taliban's homemade bombs have killed and injured hundreds of soldiers.
Now a fresh team of bomb disposal experts from RAF Wittering near Peterborough are on their way out to the front line to help deal with the so-called improvised explosive devices.
And it's certain to be a difficult and highly dangerous task, as Emma Baker now reports.
Slow down a bit, Gab.
It could be a scene on the front line in Afghanistan, but instead this is the latest training facility in the ongoing fight against one of the biggest threats to our armed forces, improvised explosive devices. And rather than members of the army, these are 2 specially trained teams from the Royal Air Force, coming to the end of an intensive 6 months of training before leaving for Afghanistan.
Find!
It'll be the first time an RAF team has gone to the country to help in the fight against IEDs.
As for freedom of movement on the ground for both military and civilian, it's, you know, one of the most important jobs out there at the minute. As you can see from the number of people getting injured or killed by IEDs, it's quite high up on the list of priorities.
There's no one type of IED. Their name describes their nature. These devices could be made from anything from pressure cookers to fertiliser and disguised as objects like plastic bags and rocks. In the past few months, the threat they pose to our armed forces has greatly increased. Last year, 108 soldiers were killed in action in Afghanistan. 23 soldiers were killed by enemy fire, but 80 were killed by IED action. The MOD says around 75% of UK military casualties in Afghanistan are a direct result of insurgent use of IEDs. One of those casualties was Corporal Lauren Martle-Thomas from 3-3 Engineer Regiment. He was killed last November whilst clearing devices in Helmand province.
Since his dad, we found out that he managed to find 18 of these IEDs, which obviously, if they'd have gone off, would have caused other deaths, other injuries. So, you know, your main feeling about the work that you're doing is pride more than anything. They know what they're doing, and they're very good at the job.
Back at RAF Wittering, those on the ground know just how important their job will be.
If there's an area we need to proceed through, then you'll take as long as you need to take to get through the area. It's a drill that you can't get wrong, basically.
The idea is the weapon of choice for the insurgents in Afghanistan, so that is the problem that we have to tackle, and which is why this unprecedented amount of resources is being devoted to tackling this problem.
The problem of improvised explosive devices is now so great that all RAF personnel are given some sort of IED awareness training before they're deployed on operation. This area here at RAF Wittering is just one of those facilities used in that training. The first RAF team will be deployed to Afghanistan next month. They'll be based at Camp Bastion in the Helmand province, working under the lead of the 3-3 Engineer Regiment. All are only too aware that it could be a difficult and dangerous 6 months ahead. Emma Baker, Anglia News, RAF Wittering in Cambridgeshire.
Well, we can now join Emma Baker. She's actually moved to RAF Honington in Suffolk. So, Emma, we heard about people going out to Afghanistan, but I believe you got some news about some people coming back home.
Absolutely, Rhiannon. Yes, good evening. Welcome to RAF Honington here in Suffolk, where we've had some jubilant scenes of celebrations in the last few minutes or so. I think you can see those pictures now. 150 men and women from the 27th Squadron RAF Regiment have just got back from 6 months' tour of duty in Afghanistan, where they were based in the Kandahar Air Base. Now, you can see absolutely delighted to be back to see their friends and family. Some of them haven't seen them for several months while they've been out there in Kandahar, and they really were delighted to be back home. Their job while they were out in Kandahar was to make sure that the airbase was kept safe and also safe for those going in and out. So some very important work out there. Now they're back. They've got 6 weeks of R&R, 6 weeks to rest with friends and family and catch up with a well-earned break.
Indeed. Emma Baker, thank you very much for that. Good to see them back. Right, with around 2 new stores a month opening in our region, Tesco's expansion plans have met with some lively criticism in the past year. But as the company's chief executive